means that the United Nations should do this, should protect the Palestinian civilian population. They don't do. So we try to do what the United Nations should do, it doesn't do. To be here now, for example, with the FASA campaign, we are here to try to help the peasant to collect olive. They don't need to do it, but we are here trying to accompany them to be to a certain extent a deterrent for the attack. But we are not anymore a deterrent. Now we are a target, an international activist, a target from the soldier, from the settler, and from the police.
Hello and welcome. I'm Osama Nazal. I'm very much honored really today to have my guest, Luisa Morgantini, the former Vice President of the European Parliament. Morgantini visiting the occupied Palestinian territories to voice her support for the rights of the Palestinian people. Her voice for justice and human rights has never faded away. It's a great honor to have you on our program, Ms. Luisa.
Thank you very much for having me.
Tell me about your visit to the occupied Palestinian territories. What are you doing? How you are voicing for support for the Palestinian people? Especially you are coming in a very important season, the Palestinian olive harvest. And we know of the Israeli occupation attacks on the Palestinian olive pickers. So tell us about your experience.
Well, my experience is a long time experience in many different moments of olive harvest. But why I come to Palestine, but above all I organize people to come to Palestine, to the West Bank now, because it is very important to keep together the horror, the genocide in Gaza, but also the ethnic cleansing and the annexation which is happening in the West Bank. So we should not obscure the reality of the West Bank. We have to tell it. So I came here as myself and also 45 Italians, going around everywhere, going to Masafariatta, to Jenin, to Jordan Valley, to Kusra, to Nablus, all the places where the settlers are organizing violence. Settlers who are out of any control, but of course helped by the soldier, by the police. It's a decision of the government, it's not the settler only. And they are messianic, they are cruel.
Yes.
I saw many attacks in the Palestinian population of Masafariatta who resist with sumud, resist just staying on that land, saying this is my land, I will not be away. But in the same time, the settlers are really destroying any possibility because many communities had to leave out of desperation because they were kicked out.
Yeah, so, and you came with a big delegation, I think. There were about 44 delegates with you on this mission from the parliaments and activists from different sectors.
There were many.
If you tell me about their experience, were they surprised when they saw the Israeli settlers and the Israeli occupiers' aggression on the Palestinian farmers?
There were people already active because, as you know, not only in Italy, but in Italy especially, the population is out on the street every day. The population believes in the self-determination of the Palestinian people, and it's demonstrating. Our government is a fascist government, so we have to change our government. And the people who came here were already knowledgeable about the situation. Yes, when you see with your own eyes, you see the devastation that the settlers are making, killing sheep, killing people, going freely in attacking the houses in Masafariatta, Jordan Valley, in Turmusaya, everywhere. So people became very, very conscious about the situation. And yes, they were surprised of these Palestinian people who are resisting even only breathing.
Yes, but Louisa, the Israeli settlers' attacks against the Palestinian farmers are unprecedented. Of course, they are supported by the Israeli occupation army. Just days ago, when they attacked the Palestinian woman from Turmusaya nearby Ramallah,
that was horrible.
Yes, it was very horrible. How did you feel when you watched that video, when you saw that?
I feel a lot of anger, but I have to control it because we have to be very cool and going on trying to say stop the occupation, trying to say to everybody in our country above all, stop the complicity of our government with the genocide in Gaza, with the ethnic cleansings in Palestine. So, but what I would like to see that the Palestinians are not only victims, they're not only attacked by the Israelis. Palestinians resist in 1,000 of ways, just sending children to school, just to stand the anxiety of having their home demolished. And they create yes. Culture. They go on with culture. I brought them to the Palestinian Museum in Birzeit, and they were surprised that despite the occupation and despite this horrible time, Palestinians are going on. Every day they come up, even here, this studio. Yeah, so it's a fantastic society.
It is a new one, and you're one of the first guests to be hosted here in this studio.
But I'm very happy. I'm very happy that we are still going on, and really I think we have to show in our country not only the sufferings of the Palestinian people, but to see how they resist with culture, with theater, film, cinema. Just now, a Palestinian from Safariata won the Oscar with the film No Other Land, which tells the reality, the daily life of the Palestinian, oppressed, beaten, humiliated, but they have a lot of dignity.
And I think that's why we have a strong international solidarity movement today. And before you come to Palestine, the demonstrations in the different cities of Italy against the Israeli genocide in Gaza, they were pressing their government and the prime minister to stop dealing with Israel, to press Israel to stop its genocide. So what do you think of the future of the international solidarity movement with the Palestinian people?
Well, there was a poster in one of the demonstrations which was very important.
Yeah.
This poster was saying, I thought to participate in liberating Palestine. Now Palestine is liberating us. Because we have to fight in our country, because there is no democracy even, not only in Israel there is no democracy, but even in our country democracy is at stake. So we have, Palestine became a global issue, and it's very important that in Italy, not only in the big city, every single place, every single village, there is the Palestinian flag, the keffiyeh, a symbol of the...
Yes, and that's why I'm asking, when there is genocide, when there is fierce aggression by Israel against the people here or in Gaza, the solidarity movement rises up. When there is ceasefire, like what we have now in Gaza, it goes down. So what do you think of the future of this international movement?
No, I don't think this time is going down. First of all, there is no ceasefire in Gaza. First of all, the Israelis are violating every day the ceasefire. They're killing, they've killed more than 100 Palestinians in these days. So we are going on every day. Even today in Roma, there is a demonstration in front of the Israeli embassy. So, yes, but you are right that historically, many times, let's see, for the Oslo Agreement, now it was peace. It was the possibility of building a Palestinian state. But now it's different. The global movement is there. Zionists show what it is. Not only a plan to annihilate the Palestinians, to send them out, but it's a plan which is cruel, which is absolutely, so it's naked. Israel now is naked. Yes, we have to fight against all the government who are still complicit with Israel.
Yeah, and while you are moving between the Palestinian cities, as you visited Hebron, Ramallah, Tulkarim, maybe the different cities in the occupied West Bank, and you see the Israeli gates and the checkpoints and the violent settlers. So how complicated the Israeli apartheid structure is? And do you think that such a structure is going to dismantle, is going to end?
Well, very difficult question, this one.
Yeah.
But it's not only apartheid, it's occupation, it's colonialism, it's cruelty. So we have to be strong. Civil society should be stand for the international right, which is totally under the rubble of Gaza. Our government are saying sometimes, okay, yes, international right, but no, we should restore international right, which is a tools for liberation.
Yes, but when you were trying to get into Gaza and you were stopped at Rafah crossing, you said that compassion is dead and the international law is dead. They are under the rubble of Gaza. What occurred? What idea crossed your mind to issue such a statement?
Well, because you see, it was really, international right is really under the rubble of Gaza. Humanity. We are trying to keep humanity alive because to see the children, the women, the men killed, and to see the prisoner, how the prisoners are treated in Israeli jail is something unbelievable. So we strongly believe in international rights, so we should do our best to apply the international right. One girl, Hayat Tamimi, said to me, I don't believe anymore in international rights. She's right to a certain extent, but we have to say, no, we have to stand for it. We have to stand for the freedom of the Palestinian, for the self-determination of the Palestinian, not like the Trump plan who just destroy the possibility of the Palestinians of being part of their decision making.
Yeah, you mentioned the American President Donald Trump, and we saw Trump's plan and Trump's declaration after he delivered his speech at the Israeli Knesset. He declared his plan at Sharm el-Sheikh, and now, okay, there is ceasefire, but Israel is violating it every day. So what is your perspective on a Trump plan and where it is leading the Palestinian cause?
Well, very difficult to say. What I can say is that what we want to do, what we want to act, I know what it will succeed. I know that it's necessary. We are committed strongly to self-determination for the Palestinian. The Trump plan is done by an emperor. Democracy, international rights are done with him. He wants to dominate the world. And to see the outrageous word said between Netanyahu and Trump is something which is revolting humanity, revolting people who are believing strongly in the right of Palestinians to self-determination, to freedom. So we have just to go on being on the street, to go on making campaign, for example, for the liberation of Marwan Barghouti and all the political prisoners, to make our public opinion, our government, our member of parliament, to be aware that there are more than 11,000 Palestinians in jail, and their treatment said also by the...
And you told me that you are organizing a campaign these days in Europe and worldwide to release the Palestinian prisoners. If you give us an idea about this campaign.
Well, we just started because when we see the exchange of prisoners, which was really terrible to see people go in exile, the Israeli keeping wife, family, not being able to go and reach the Palestinian in Cairo, in Turkey, whatever they are. First of all, it's a shame that they send the prisoner in exile. So what we are trying to do, and when they don't liberate Marwan and other leaders, for example, that means that they don't want peace. They don't want to make an agreement because Marwan is a symbol for the Palestinian who keep also unity of all the Palestinian people. So what we are doing is trying to build up local committee, national committee, to press our municipality to give honorary citizenship to the Palestinian, Marwan Barghouti, the prisoner, and to ask for the liberation. Not only of Marwan as a symbol, but all the Palestinian prisoners. So we organize meeting, demonstration, we go in with the parliamentarian. It's a normal campaign that we did already, but we have to really stress on the Palestinian prisoner.
Yeah. Now, the Israeli occupation Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is wanted by the ICC as a war criminal. Do you think there would be campaigns in Europe and elsewhere in order to press the court to implement, to execute its warrant and bring Netanyahu and other Israeli criminals to international justice?
No, we should press our government, because it's not the court that can implement. The court did the right decision. Netanyahu is a criminal war, Gallant is a criminal, and so many other criminals inside the Israeli government. But are the government who should implement what the International Penal Court said, but also should implement the International Court of Justice. They said in July 24 that Palestine is occupied and the Israelis should end the occupation within 1 year, which is already passed.
Yes.
So it's us, as civil society, who should pressure our government to not to say today Netanyahu could pass through our sky to go somewhere. Netanyahu should be arrested like Gallant, like all the other criminals. But it's not the court who can implement it. It's us. It's the government, it's the civilian population who can press our government to do it. And I really hope that not only Netanyahu, but the people who are complicit with Netanyahu, even van der Leyen, our commission, she was complicit with Netanyahu and with the genocide. And for example, in Italy, we also denounced to the court our government because they are complicit with Israel, selling arms, not to stop selling arms, not to put sanctions. So they are, in this case, complicit with the genocide.
Yes. And Luisa, you had a statement that we should put our bodies between the Palestinians and the Israeli settlers. Can you explain what you mean by that?
Well, it's a long time that we do.
Yes.
I remember the second Intifada when we were in front of the checkpoint with our hand raised, together also with Israel, who are against occupation. So it means that the United Nations should do this, should protect the Palestinian civilian population. They don't do. So we try to do what the United Nations should do, it doesn't do. To be here now, for example, with the FASA campaign, we are here to try to help the peasant to collect olive. They don't need to do it, but we are here trying to accompany them to be to a certain extent a deterrent for the attack. But we are not anymore a deterrent. Now we are a target, an international activist, a target from the soldier, from the settler, and from the police. But that's our duty. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel our duty.
Yeah. And my final question to you, Louisa, the picture is very gloomy, really. We see how Gaza is fully demolished. The Israeli occupation military forces control 53% of it. Israeli party submitted a bill to the Israeli Knesset today to declare the Israeli former sovereignty over the occupied West Bank. So the situation is full of pessimism, but you always talk of hope. Do you have hope this time? And what gives you hope?
Well, Mahmoud Darwish said that Palestinians are obliged to have hope. They don't have another option. And I think what gives me hope is to see the young people in Massafariata, in Jordan Valley, in Jenin, in Tulkarem, where there was all this displacement of the camp, to see they're still there. And give me hopes is the fact that we cannot allow ourselves the luxury of desperation, of impotence. Because since there is a Palestinian who's there, since there is a migrant who cannot cross the border of Europe, if there is somebody who is attacked by injustice, we have to keep hope. And maybe we don't succeed, but I'm sure it is worthwhile to believe in justice, democracy for what it is, but above all justice. And I would like to see from the river to the sea, everybody should be equal and free.
And with these words, we come to the end of our program. It has been a pleasure having you, Ms. Louisa. Thank you very much.
No, thank you to you. Thank you to the Palestinian people ever. Because as a young Palestinian, now not anymore young, so young, said, you Palestinians teach lives every day to us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching. And from you, Osama Nazal. Have a nice time.